Hey guys, and welcome to week 6 of our subject. Today we will be discussing about Python, its introduction, characteristics, as well as I will give you an introduction in how we should do programming in Python. Okay, so let's get started. Python is a general-purpose interpreted, interactive, object-oriented, and high-level programming language created by Guido van Rossum during 1985 to 1990. Like Perl, Python source code is also available under the GNU General Public License, meaning to say, guys, that Python is open source and it members of the community can make advancement to the general code of Python. This tutorial gives enough understanding on Python programming language. Why learn Python? Python is a high-level, interpreted, interactive, and object-oriented scripting language designed to be highly readable. It uses English keywords frequently as other languages use punctuation, and it has fewer syntactical constructions than other languages. It is a must for students and working professionals to become a great software engineer, especially when they are working in web development domain. I will list down some of the key advantages of learning Python. It's interpreted. It's processed at runtime by the interpreter. You do not need to compile your program before executing it, similar to Perl and PHP. It is interactive. You can actually sit at a Python command and interact with the interpreter directly to write your own programs. It is object-oriented, meaning to say it supports the style or technique of programming that encapsulates code within objects. Meaning to say, guys, we can reuse the code in order for us to build bigger programs. When we say object, it can pertain to anything like a person, a name, a subject, um, living or non-living thing. When we say object-oriented programming, meaning to say we are basing around the idea of objects as the main framework of our program. It is a beginner's language. It supports the development of a wide range of application from simple text processing to worldwide web browsers or internet browsers to games. Characteristics. It supports functional and structured programming methods as well as object-oriented programming. Can be used as scripting language or can be compiled to bytecode for building large application. Provides very high-level dynamic data types and supports dynamic type checking. Meaning to say, guys, it supports different types of values like numbers, floating point numbers, characters, strings, mathematical, financial calculations. Even NASA is using Python in order for them to program some of their space missions. Okay. Python can also be used to construct your own blockchain like Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, okay, Doge coins if you are or if you have heard of those blockchain coins. Python can be used to develop and program them. Supports automatic garbage collection, meaning to say, guys, it clears out all the unused data in the computer memory automatically. Can easily be integrated with C, C++, COM, ActiveX, Corba, and Java. Hello world using Python. I think we have already discussed this one. In order for us to display anything on the screen, we use the keyword print. Now, there are instances where Python will require you to have an open close parenthesis, and there are instances where the open and close parenthesis is not required. Now, if you are using our Pydroid 3 compiler, We need to have the opening close parentheses when we are performing print in order for this command to work. Also take note guys, if you are doing Python code, it has very strict rules with regards to proper spacing and tab. Okay, the use of tab or indentation. Otherwise, your program will encounter errors. I will show the samples to you later on. If you want to download all the codes for this week and for the upcoming weeks, I have attached them, okay, at the end of our lesson under Unit 6 code.zip. So if you want to download the code, just unzip this one and then just copy them on a folder on your phone so that you can access the code. Okay? Applications of Python. It is easy to learn. It has few keywords, simple structure, and a clearly defined syntax. It is easy to read. It is more defined and visible to the eyes. It is easy to maintain. It has a broad standard library, meaning to say, guys, the library that it pertains here are the different tools that you could use. Okay, Python has a large, very large library that is very portable and cross-platform compatible on Unix, which is the father or great grandfather of Windows, and Macintosh. So Unix is an operating system where Linux is based. Okay. Before Windows and Mac, there was Linux, and even before Linux, there was Unix. Okay, interactive mode. Python has support for an interactive mode, allowing interactive testing and debugging of snippets of code. It's portable, can run on a wide variety of hardware platforms. It is extendable. We can add low-level modules to the Python interpreter. Meaning to say, guys, we can add more and more tools in order for us to perform more functions for Python. It supports database. It can have GUI programming. GUI programming pertains to forms and buttons that you can see on certain programs that you can interact with, and it is scalable, meaning to say it can support small to large programs. It is interpreted, interactive, object-oriented, and a beginner's language. A history. Again, it was developed by Guido van Rossum in the late 80s and early 90s at the National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in the Netherlands. It is derived from many other languages. Okay, it is copyrighted under the General Public License GNU. It's now maintained by a core development team at the Institute, although Guido van Rossum still holds a vital role in directing its progress. I think some of the text has been repeated. Identifiers. A Python identifier is a name used to identify a variable, a function, a class, module, or other object. Take note, guys, variables are the term that you use in order for you to set and retrieve values in your program. So those are all variables, and variables can be a string, a number, a date, a time. Okay, it can be any other, or it can contain any other form of data. An identifier starts with the letter A to Z, or a small letter A to Z, or an underscore followed by zero or more letters, underscores, and digits 0 to 9. Python does not allow punctuation characters such as ampersand, dollar, and percentage symbol within identifiers. Take note, Python is case sensitive, meaning to say capital M manpower and small caps manpower are two different identifiers or variables in Python. So take note, guys. When we say identifiers, it pertains to the name, okay, to the name of our variable, to the name of our function, to the name of any other object. And Python is case sensitive, meaning to say when they have different cases, whether it be small caps or big caps, they are different variables, although they read the same. So these are the naming conventions. Class name starts with an uppercase letter. All other identifiers starts with lowercase. Starting an identifier with a single leading underscore indicates that that identifier is private. Meaning to say, guys, private is a type of identifier that belongs to a certain part of our code. Okay, there are actually different types. The main types are called public and private. When we say that an identifier is public, can be accessed to any parts of our program. When we say that an identifier is private, it means to say that only a certain part of our code or program is allowed to access that particular identifier. Starting an identifier with two leading underscores indicates a strongly private identifier. If the identifier also ends with two trailing underscores, the identifier is a language-defined special name. Okay. So for now, you do not need um, to get confused with the naming convention. Okay. But for this lesson, because we will be starting with basic variables, okay, we start with small caps. Okay, we will not be tackling about classes or private public variables or identifiers yet. Next, reserve words. When we say reserve, it means that it is already allotted. Okay, and Python has these what we call reserved words, meaning to say you cannot use them as identifier, constant, or variable in your program. Okay? And they are all in small caps or small letters or lowercase letters. These keywords have special function in our program. That's why we cannot reuse them for any other purposes. Okay. Next, lines and indentation. Python provides no braces to indicate blocks of code per class and function, definition, or flow control. Blocks of code are denoted by line indentation, which is rigidly enforced. The number of spaces in the indentation is variable, but all statements within the block must be indented the same amount. For example, we have if else here. If condition is true, take note, this is indented, we print true. If condition is not true or else, we print false. Okay. However, the following block generates an error if we do this one. If true, notice we did not provide any indentation, else we did not provide any indentation. This will generate an error simply because these two statements are under if. So if a statement is under a main statement, it should be indented just like this one, so that we can know or we can denote that those statements are under a particular parent code or parent keyword. Take note of that, guys. Statements in Python typically end with a new line. Python does, however, allows the use of the line continuation character to denote that the line should continue. For example, total is equal to item 1 plus new line item 2 plus new line item 3. Statements contained within the bracket, curly braces, or open close parentheses brackets do not need to use the line continuation character. For example, days is equals to square bracket, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so those are multi-line statements. Quotation in Python. Python accepts single, double, or triple quotes to denote string literals. as long as the same type of quote starts and ends the string. The triple quotes are used to span the string across multiple lines. For example, all the following are legal, meaning to say it will not produce an error. Variable word is equal to single quote word. Sentence is equal to double quote. This is a sentence. Double quote. Paragraph is equals to triple double quote. This is a paragraph, triple double quote. So we have three choices for setting a string value to our identifier or our variable. Now, what is preferred? For me, the preferred is either using single quote or double quote. Now, for our example, we will be using double quote. Okay. However, if you prefer to use single quote, you can use single quote. Okay. Comments. A hash sign that is not inside a string literal begins a comment. All characters after the hash sign and up to the end of the physical line are part of the comment and the Python interpreter ignores them. Meaning to say, if we want to place a comment without Python running that particular line, we just place a symbol. Okay, so for example, if we execute this particular command, okay, hashtag first comment prints hello Python, hashtag second comment, it will only display hello Python simply because this is a comment and this is a comment. All the words after the hash symbol will be ignored. Okay. If you want to see that particular code, we try to run command. Okay. Notice that the comment, which is usually denoted in green, is not executed. Okay. You can type a comment on the same line after a statement. For example, variable name is equals to double quote Maserati. This is again a comment. You can comment multiple lines or follows. This is a comment. Okay. Following triple quoted string is also ignored by Python interpreter and can be used as multi-line comments. Triple quoted string. So let's try do that. This is a triple quoted string. If you try to run it, okay, it does not execute anything. This is also considered as a comment. Using blank lines. A line containing only white space, possibly with a comment, is known as the blank line and Python ignores it. Okay. So if you place a blank line, this is, of course, this will not be executed. Take note, guys. If you are connected to the internet, Pydroid has some ads, so just close it if it appears. Waiting for the user. The following line of program displays the prompt. The statement press the enter key to exit and waits for the user to take action. So let's try to run this program using the command draw underscore input open close parenthesis. It will display press the enter key to exit, and then if you press the enter key, the program will end. Now, we use two new lines. The symbol for a new line is backslash n, meaning to say every new line is equivalent to one line space. So we have here two line space on the and on the third line, we will display press the enter key to exit. Let's try to and the code. Take note, I am doing copy paste in those stocks. Okay. So I think we have an error. The command raw input is not detected properly in our Pydroid, but in other Android compiler, this one is supported. Okay, so take note of that. We cannot run that particular code in Pydroid. So let's skip that out. Multiple statements on a single line. Notice that if we are declaring multiple lines of code, we go to the next line. And there is no particular symbol to terminate that line. However, if we want to execute two or more lines in a single line, what we can do is use semicolon symbol. So in this statement, we are declaring or we are executing three lines. The first one is import, meaning to say we are calling a particular tool or library. Next one is declaring a variable called x with the value of single quote foo, and we are calling out the function system.stdout.write x plus new line. The function of this one is the same as print. Okay, sys.stdout.write. So let's try if that particular code will work. Okay, notice oh, and then there is a space or a new line. Okay, so that is also equivalent to this one. Okay, or if you do not want to do that, just remove the semicolon. It will still work. Okay, so semicolon can be used to execute multiple lines on a single line or multiple commands in a single line. Multiple statement groups as suite. A group of individual statements which make a single code block are called suite in Python. Compound or complex statements such as if, while, def, and class require a header line and a suite. Header lines begin the statement with a keyword and terminate with a colon, and are followed by one or more lines which makes up the suite. So this is an example of that one. So basically, if we are using a suite, we can execute multiple lines in a single line. But we will not be using that because it is quite confusing. But I have a sample later on how we could use multiple commands in a single line. Okay, Python, variable types. Variables are nothing but reserved memory location to store values. Take note of that. This means that when you create a variable, you reserve some space in memory. Based on the data type of the variable, the interpreter allocates memory and decides what can be stored in the reserved memory. By assigning data types to variables, you can store integers, decimal, or characters in these variables. Now, how do you assign values to variables? Python variables do not need explicit declaration to reserve memory space. The declaration happens automatically when you assign a value to a variable. So this is the variable, this is the value. We are assigning 100 to counter, symbolized by the equal sign. The equal sign is used to assign values to variable. The operand to the left of the of the equal sign operator is the name of the variable, and the operand to the right of the equal sign operator is the value stored in the variable. So for this one, we have counter is equals to 100, miles is equal to 1000.0, name is equals to John. So when you print those values, this will be displayed. So let's try open our code. I have not saved it. So I will just copy it. And this will be a good example on how I can show you that indentation is very strict in Python. If we try to run that one, it will just print out our values. Okay. Now, what if I try to place page here after print? Will it still run? It's still running here. Still running. Why? Why is that? The simplest explanation for that is because this is just basic variables and we do not have um, complicated structure of logic yet. How about if we try to use single quote? Will it still run? Note, okay, okay, still running. But what if I place double quote here? Take note, when we encounter an error, it will tell us the particular line where the error is encountered, and then together with the error message. So you have to double check on what particular part the error happened. So for this instance, I saw that I had two single quotes. So when I run it, now running properly. Let's close. Cool. Next, multiple assignment. Python allows you to assign a single value to several variables simultaneously. For example, A is equal to B, which is equal to C, which is equals to 1. So therefore, in this instance, the value of A, B, C is 1. Here, an integer object is created with the value 1 and all three variables are assigned to the same memory location. You can assign multiple objects to multiple variables. For example, A, comma, B, comma, C is equal to 1 to 1, comma, 2, comma, yan. Here, two integer objects with values 1 and 2 are assigned to variables A and B respectively, and one string object with the value jan is assigned to variable C. So in this instance, okay, let's just type it. Okay, print. Okay. So we can assign value by using comma, but you have to take note that the number of variables must equal to the number of the values. So let's say, for example, it will have an error. Too many values to unpack because You have four values and only three variables. Standard data types. The data stored in memory can be of many types. For example, a person's age is stored as numeric value and his address is stored as alphanumeric. Characters. Python has various standard data types that are used to define operations possible in the storage method for each of them. Python has five standard data types, namely numbers, string, list, tuple, and dictionary. Python numbers. Number data type stores numeric values. Number objects are created when you assign a value to them. For example, var1 is equal to 1, var2 is equal to 10. You can also delete the reference to a number object by using the del statement. The syntax of the del statement is del var1, comma, var2, or the name of the variable. You can delete a single object or multiple objects by using the del statement. For example, del var or del var underscore a, comma, var b. Python supports four different numerical types, namely int, signed numbers, long integers, which can also be represented in octal and hexadecimal, floating point real numbers, and complex or complex numbers. So these are the examples of those four. I will not uh, reiterate them to you one by one. Python allows you to use a lowercase l with long, but it's recommended that you use only an uppercase L to avoid confusion with the number 1. Python displays long integers with an uppercase L. A complex number consists of an ordered pair of real floating point numbers denoted by x plus y, j, where x and y are the real numbers and j is the imaginary unit. Python strings. String in Python are identified as contiguous set of characters represented in the quotation marks. Python allows for either pairs of single or double quotes. Subset of strings can be taken using the slice operator. So the slice operator are the bracket, open close bracket, and open close bracket with colon, with indexes starting at 0 in the beginning of the string and working their way from -1 at the end. The plus sign is the string concatenation operator and the asterisk symbol is the repetition operator. For example, so we have our string here. So our string is single quote hello world exclamation. So when we print string, it prints the complete string. If we want to print only the first character, we do str and then bracket 0, which starts on the first character of our string, which is h. And then if we want to print from the third to the fifth, we use 2 colon 5. So 0, 1, 2. So that's 2 L to 5. 3, 4, 5. So that's LL0 space. If we want to start from the third character to the end, we use 2 colon and then no numbers is inputted, meaning to say until the end of the particular string. And if we want to print the string 2 times, we just do str asterisk 2. And if we want to concatenate, we use the plus symbol. So hello world, exclamation plus test. So let's try to run our code. So this will be our output. Okay. Python list. Lists are the most versatile of Python's compound data types. It contains items separated by commas and enclosed within square brackets. To some extent, lists are similar to arrays in C. One difference between them is that all the items belonging to a list can be of different data type. The values stored in a list can be accessed using the slice operator with indexes starting at 0, okay, and working their way to the end, -1. The plus sign is The list concatenation operator, and the asterisk is the repetition operator. For example, we have a list here. If you're familiar with array, it's almost the same as that of an array. List, and then values. We have string number, number, string number. And then we have another list here. 1, 2, 3, and yeah. Okay, so the first one is prints the complete list. Second one is first displays the first element of the list, which is A, B, C, D. Next is prints elements starting from the second and the third. So 0, 1, 2, 3, so 7, 8, 6 to the 23 and John. And then prints elements starting from the third element, so from 2.23 until 7.2. And then prints list two times, so tiny list two times, then list plus tiny list, just concatenation. Next are tuples. A tuple is another sequence data type similar to list. It consists of a number of values separated by comma. However, unlike list, tuples are enclosed within parentheses. The main difference between list and tuples are lists are enclosed in brackets and their elements and size can be changed, while tuples are enclosed in parentheses and cannot be updated. Tuples can be thought of as a read-only list. So basically, same rules, only a different symbol used to contain them. Okay, so parentheses. Dictionary. Python dictionaries are kind of hash table type. They work like associative arrays or hashes found in Perl and consist of key pair values. A dictionary can be almost any Python type but are usually numbers or strings. Values, on the other hand, can be any Python object. Dictionaries are enclosed by curly braces and values can be assigned and accessed using square braces. For example, dictionary. So variable dict is a dictionary or dict. Then dict one, this is one. Dict two, this is two. Tiny dict is equals to name, Jan, code 6734. The department is sales. Okay, let's try to in our samples. Okay, the first one is dict, and then one prints value for the one key. So this is the key, and then this is the value. That's why it's called as a name key value pair. This is the key, and then this is the value or key value pair. Key value pair. Dict one, then dict two, tiny dict, the principal dictionary, prints all the keys. That's name, code, department, and the values is Jan 6734 and cents. Again, if you have any questions, just kindly post your comment in our chat group in Discord so that I can address your questions. Dictionaries have no concept or order among elements. It is incorrect to say that the elements are out of order. They are simply unordered. Now, we could also do data type conversion wherein we convert one data type to another. To convert between types, you simply use the type name as a function. There are several built-in functions to perform conversion from one type to another. These functions return a new object representing the converted value. For example, we have int converts x and base, converts x and integer. Base specifies the base if x is a string. We have long, float, etc. etc. We even have hex converts an integer to a hexadecimal string. Octa converts an integer to an octal string. Let's try to do that one using print. Fifteen. Okay. 0x f 16. 0x 1 0. Okay. Basic operators. Operators are the construct which can manipulate the value of operands. Consider the expression 4 plus 5 equals 9. Here, 4 and 5 are called operands and plus is the operator. We have different types of operator. Arithmetic, comparison or relational, assignment, logical, bitwise, membership, and identity. For arithmetic operators, we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, exponent, using two asterisk, and we have third division using two slashes. Okay, so let's try to look at our sample for arithmetic operation. So again, take note, take care of your space. After a variable name, one space and then equal sign, another space, and then followed by the value. Press enter so that you could go to the next line. Do not forget that in order for you to avoid errors. Okay, and this is a very long example. So we have A is equals to 21, B is equals to 10, C is equals to 0, C is equals to A plus B. Okay, it will display the value of C. Okay, and then there are operations here. This is what? Power, A to the power of B, and then A, third division B. So if we try to run this sample, the output is this one. Let us check. A plus B, 21 plus 10. The output is 31. A minus B, 21 minus 10, 11. A times B, 21 times 10, 210. A divided by B, 21 divided by 10, 0.1. A modulus B, the answer is 1. A to the power of B, where A is 2 and B is 3. 2 raised to 3 is 8. And lastly, 10 third division of 5 is 2. Okay. When you say floor division, the result of the quotient in which the digits after the decimal point are removed. That's why we call it as floor division. We rounded it up to the lowest possible value. Next are comparison operators. So these are your comparison operators. Take note, the less than greater than symbol is equal to the exclamation equal symbol or the not equal symbol. In our case, okay, the less than greater than symbol is having an error. Okay, so I change it to exclamation and equal sign, which is the same. Maybe this is just a version of my Python or Pydroid. Okay, so take note of that. But these two are the same. So for our example, just use this one. Exclamation equal sign. Okay. Comparison operators. Okay. So first is A is equal to B. Take note. To denote equality, we use two equal symbols. Next, A is not equal to B. Okay. A is not equal to B. A is less than B. A is greater than B. Then we have here, take note, this is if else. Okay. If you are doing an if else statement, in order for you not to have any error, take note, in order for you not to have any error, after typing the command and then ending with a colon, what you can do is to press enter to make sure that the line that you will type will be properly indented. Okay, take note, do not forget that. After typing your line, again press enter and then type else and then colon. And then after doing that, press enter again. So that your lines will be properly indented and you will not encounter any errors. Okay. Again, all the codes are working. Okay. But you can try to change them so that you can see what will happen. We also have the Python assignment operators. We have here equal, plus equal, minus equal. You just add, subtract, asterisk equal, multiply, slash equal, divide, percentage equal, modulus, asterisk equal, exponent, and slash slash equal, just for division. What happens is that it serves as a shortcut so that instead of performing or declaring the variable repeatedly, all you need to do is like this. For example, C is equals to C plus A. Notice that C is repeated. What we can do using assignment operators is just declare C is equals to plus equals A, which is the same as C plus A. Okay, that goes out to all the other symbols. That is our assignment operator. It's a shortcut in order for you not to repeat the variable again if the operation involves the variable together with another variable. Okay, so we have an example here. We have C is equals to A plus B, and then we have C plus equals A. Take a look. Let's take a look at examples. Okay, so this line 1 and line 2 should have the same, sorry, C is equals to A plus B, then C is equals to A. So A plus C, okay, A plus C. So let's take a look on what can be around 31, 52, 1092, 52, 2, then C is equals to A plus B, 31, C is equals to 31, 31 plus A, 21, that's 52. Okay, so our assignment operator code is 14. Bitwise operator works on bits and performs bit by bit operation. Assume if A is equals to 60 and B is 13. Now in the binary format, their values will be this one respectively. Following table lists out the bitwise operators supported by Python language with an example each in those. We use the above two variables A and B as operands. So using these values, we have A and B, A or B, A X or B, and binary ones complement A. Let's try to look at the example. Okay. So take note of the operators. We have AND, OR, XOR, complement, left shift, right shift. Okay. These are the values. Python logical operators. There are following logical. So these are the following logical operators supported by Python. We have AND, OR, and NOT. So always remember, AND condition is true if both conditions are true, or is true if either one of the condition is true, and not is reverse of the condition. Okay, so let's take a look at our logical operators. So A is 10, B is 10, C is negative 10. If A is greater than 0 and B is greater than 0, then print the numbers are greater than 0. But we have another condition here. Notice that this if is under this if. So meaning, this condition will be tested if this condition is true. Okay? If A, B, and C is greater than 0, print the numbers are greater than 0. Otherwise, at least one number is not greater than 0. So the output is numbers are greater than 0, at least one number is not greater than 0 simply because C is negative 10. Next, membership operators. Membership operators test for membership in a sequence, such as string lists or tuples. There are two membership operators are explained as explained below. We have in and not in. In evaluates the true if it finds a variable in the specified sequence and false otherwise. For example, x in y. Here in results in A, Here in results in A, if x is a member of a sequence of y, okay, it will return 1. If x is a member of the sequence of y. Not in evaluates the true if it does not find the variable in the specified sequence and false otherwise. X not in y. Here, not in results in A in the value of 1 if x is not a member of sequence y. For example, we have a list here and we have two variables. Okay. If A is in list, so A is 10. Is it given in any of the lists? B is not in the list, 20. Okay, what will be the answer? A is equals to 2 if A is in the list. Okay, so let's take a look. And A is not in the list. B is not in the list. A is available in the given list. Okay. Identity operators. Identity operators compares the memory location of two objects. There are two types, the is and is not. Is evaluates the truth. The variables on either side of the operator points to the same object and false otherwise. X is y. Here, it returns 1 if idx equals idy. Is not evaluates to false if the variables on either side of the operator point to the same object and to otherwise. X is not y. Here, the result returns 1 if idx is not equal to idy. Okay? identity. A is 20, B is 20. If A is B, okay. If IDA is equals to IDB, B is equals to 30. If A is B, if A is not B. Take note, A and B is 20. For the first one, A and B have the same identity. A and B has the same identity. Their values are the same. Okay. And then next one, IDA is equals to IDB. So they have the same identity. Okay. B is equals to 30. If A is B, okay. So again, A is 20 and B is 30. So the answer is not have the same identity. Then lastly, A is not B. A and B does not have the same identity. Okay. If A is not B, that is true. 20 and 30. Next, operator precedence. When we say precedence, it is the proper ordering that will happen when multiple operations occur. Okay. So for Python, we follow a certain rule in performing operation. So this table states the seniority or which operation will be performed first. So for the very first one, we have exponentiation or power. Then for the next one, we have complement, unary plus and minus. Then we have multiplication, division, modulus, and floor division. Next, we have addition and subtraction. We have right and left bitwise shift. We have bitwise end. And then we have exclusive or regular or, and then so on and so forth. Operator precedence affects how an expression is evaluated. For example, x is equal to 7 plus 3 times 2. Here, x is assigned 13 and not 20 because operator asterisk has higher precedence than addition. So it first multiplies 3 by 2 and then adds to 7. Okay. How do you beat operator precedence? Okay. Operator precedence is not followed when there is parenthesis. Okay, because parenthesis has the highest seniority, although this is not included in the table. So when a particular variable is enclosed in parenthesis, although the operation is not in the seniority, that particular parenthesis must be performed first. Okay, so take note of that. So in this example, A should be added to B first before you multiply 2, C, and then divide it by B. Okay, so let's try to take a look at the example. Okay, for the first one, the value is 90, 90, 90, and 50. So take note, they have the same operators, they have the same variables, but because of the use of parentheses, the values became different. Okay, so take note of that. All variables inside the parentheses must be performed first, or the values extracted first before you go out to the other operators. Next, decision making. Decision making is is anticipation of conditions occurring while execution of the program and specifying actions taken according to the condition. Decision structures evaluate multiple expression which produces true or false outcome. You need to determine which action to take and which statement to execute if outcome is true or false. Following is the general form of a typical decision-making structure found in most programming languages. So, condition, if it is true, do the code. If not, okay, enter another code or exit. Python programming language assumes any non-zero and non-null values as true. And if it is either zero or null, then it is assumed as false. Python programming language provides the following types of decision-making statements. The if statements. An if statement consists of a Boolean expression followed by one or more statements. The if-else statement. It is an if statement followed by an optional else statement which executes when the Boolean expression is false. We also have the nested if statement. You can use one if or else if statement inside another if or else if. Single statement suite. For example, if the suite of an if clause consists only of a single line, it may go on the same line as the header statement. For example, we have var is equals to 100. If var is equals to 100, colon, print. Value of expression is 100. Then print goodbye. So in this instance, value of expression is 100 will be printed as well as goodbye. Okay. Why? Because this statement is true. Take note that an if statement is followed by a colon. Anything after the colon will be executed. Okay, this is considered as true. Okay, and then this is considered or also equal to this line. Okay, so this one part of one particular logic, and then this one is separate from here. How do we check if that is true? If we change the value of var to 101, what will happen? Will only print goodbye. The reason behind that is, as I have said, after the colon, any line that precedes it is part of the condition. However, because we are only doing one if statement, only one line is executed and is part of the condition. This line will always be executed because it is not part of the condition. The else keyword. The else keyword catches anything which isn't caught by the preceding condition. Take note, as I have said, if you are typing, take note of your spaces. After the colon of an if statement, press enter. After colon of an else statement or elif statement, press enter. So that your spacing will be properly recognized. In this sample, 200, which is A is 200, B is 33. If B is greater than A, print B is greater than A, else A is greater than B. So in this condition, our statement else should be executed. A, A is greater than B. Next is LF. LF. Okay. Actually, in LF, you could Also place an else statement, print I. Okay. B is greater than A, so that's false. Else A is equals to B, that is true, so this one will be executed. A and B are shorthand if. Shorthand meaning to say you can execute the statement in one line. So that is shorthand. So for if we have if A is greater than B, print A is greater than B. Okay. Notice it is only on one particular line. Shorthand if else. For shorthand if else, notice that the statement to be executed must be displayed or entered first before the particular if else. So in this one, print A if A is greater than B, else print B. Okay. So notice that the statement comes first. It's like talking in an English language. Do this first if A is B. If not, do this. Okay. Then statement B. This technique is known as ternary operators or conditional expressions. And the end keyword is logical operator used to combine conditional statements. So as we have seen earlier, okay, you can combine two or three conditions using and those have or. Okay. And then we have the nested if. The nested if is an if or an if else statement inside another if else statement. So for here, we have x is equals to 41. If x is greater than 10, execute this one. Execute all of the statement. So print above 10. If x is greater than 20, print also above 20. If not, print not above 20. Just try to run above 10 and also above 20. What if we change this one to 1? Or the statement will not be executed anymore. So that is a nested if. Then lastly, we have what we call as pass. Okay. Pass statement. If statements cannot be if, but if you, for some reason, have an if statement with no content, put in the pass statement to avoid getting an error. Basically, the pass statement only passes through the line and does not execute anything. Okay? So if we run this one, okay, program finished. But what if we do not use pass? What will happen? Will execute an error because it will ask for what will happen after the condition is met. Okay. So that is all for this week. I hope you learned something and I hope you could begin coding. For any inquiries, you can just message me on our Discord channel. Take care and good luck.